So who am I? So as just Jenkins touched on, I am the new SBE director of the program. And I won't read this slide right here, but I'll ask you to peruse it at your leisure. But an important note, I want to go down to about the fourth bullet where it touches on my passions. I have a passion for getting difficult things done right and championing the value of diversity. That's something that I have done since as far back as I could remember, before there was even ERGs, or what are known as employee resource groups. I was tapped to engage with my fellow employees and lead those discussions around diversity, equity, inclusion in the early days. And so for me, that's a passion. I feel like my steps were ordered in that regard, and I've worked successfully with minority businesses, small and diverse, as well as I was an entrepreneur myself. But the other point I want to touch on is the next bullet, which is I'm a proud father of two beautiful children. So that's my why. That's why I get out of bed every day. I try to be the best dad that I can be for them. So again, this is who I am. I'm very happy to be here at the county and looking forward to meeting you through our outreach activities. So next, I have some exciting news. Proceed to the next slide, please. So what we have is known as the Emergency
Thank you so much, Andrew.
And this program is something that I want to share with you. It's an exciting capacity building initiative that we have here at the county. And this program was basically developed to provide rapid financial assistance to traditional small businesses who have been adversely affected by the current pandemic. So if you can imagine, across the United States, small businesses who form the economic backbone of their communities are now facing immediate and oftentimes crushing financial pressure due to COVID-19. So many were forced to shut down their operations, and they were at risk of never reopening. So even though there's a few that are still operating remotely, they may face major shortfalls with little or no reserves to pay not only their expenses, but many will have no choice but to lay off their employees as well and close their doors forever. So we're really excited about this grant. It is in the amount of $15,000, as you can see here, and it's targeting those small, disadvantaged, and minority-owned businesses, as I touched on, with no more than 100 employees. And so we have the eligibility criteria listed here. As of particular note, they must be physically located and operating within Dallas County. So this excludes the city of Dallas, who has their own programming. But you also have to have annual gross income of less than 1 million and have experienced a loss of at least 25% in income since March the 1st, 2020, due to the pandemic. So as you can see, we have our link there on the bottom, and we will also make this available on our SBE website on dallascounty.org. But again, this is a very exciting capacity building initiative, and we're proud to bring it to our community here. Next slide, please. So I want to touch on one of the models for small business enterprise participation here at the county. We had what is known as the South Dallas Government Center. And I'm encouraging each and every one of you to visit this center. If you don't do anything else for the remainder of this year, make the time to go down and visit this wonderful exhibit, if you will, of our commitment, not only to small business, but to our community at large. It's a $22 million government center situated on 12 acres at the corner of West Wheatland Road and Polk Street. It's about 11,000 square feet for the Dallas County Sheriff's Training Academy. And we also achieved, which I'm proud to note, 42% minority and small business participation, which exceeded our aspirational goal of 40%. So kudos to all of our internal clients who supported this effort and initiative. We're also proud to note that it had 100% minority finance with a firm, minority firm. We also had collaboration with the Regional Black Contractors Association and included their Second Chance program, which we're proud of as well. And then of particular note, I want to touch on the artwork that is displayed throughout this center. It is a model. I encourage you again, if you don't do anything else for the end of this year, You need to go and look at this artwork. I'm telling you, it rivals anything that we have downtown. There's so many local artists. We have 11 prominent Dallas County judges and constables whose portraits are featured throughout, plus Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. And on the first floor, there is a 7-foot by 20-foot mosaic mural titled Justice for All by artist Reginald C. Adams. And it's been integrated into that architecture that is near the public rotunda. And I can tell you, I've seen that thing, I've taken pictures of it. It is a marvel to the eyes. And so once again, I encourage you to take a look and visit that center. So next, we're going to go into an overview of the Small Business Enterprise Program. Next slide, please. And this is my department. So I want to share with you our mission, our goals, and our functions, and then talk about our support. And as you can see here on the screen, we were created to basically ensure a level playing field on which small businesses could compete fairly for opportunities here at the county. And so our goal throughout the entire Dallas County enterprise is to utilize those small businesses to enhance the capacity of their small businesses, because we understand the value that they bring. Over 53% of the nation's jobs are coming from small businesses with less than 100 employees. And so we understand the value, the quality, the competitiveness that they bring. And we want to promote the use of those businesses through our contracting and subcontracting opportunity. We also want to ensure that there's non-discrimination in the award and administration of our contracts and procurements to SBEs. So our primary function is to serve as a liaison. We provide training, education, and awareness through our outreach activities, but we also conduct in-reach activities as well to get the message out there and ensure that we have support. We promote vendor SBE certification, and you're going to hear more from our certification agency partners. We also monitor and report on the results of our program, and we maintain a diverse vendor database. And then our support, I really want to call attention to the fact that our commissioner's court is loaded with champions who believe and understand the value of small business. A few of them have their own practices and businesses as well. And we have the executive leadership support throughout Dallas County, as I touched on earlier. And I have a peer of mine, a fellow department head, Mr. Michael Frosch, who is on our agenda today, who will share with you some additional background on how to do business with Dallas County. And then we have the Small Business Advocacy Council, which is made up of members of the community, whether business, civic. Of particular note, Ms. Margot Posey is the chairwoman of the SBAC, and I'm proud to acknowledge her efforts as a longtime supporter in the community and leader of the Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Supplier Development Council. And you will hear from them as well. I want to call attention to our certification advocacy partners. Again, not to steal their thunder, but they're on the agenda. You're going to hear from them on how to apply, how to get certified, and they will be able to answer any questions that you may have at the conclusion of the presentation. And lastly, we want to call attention to the business community at large, made up of those small, diverse minorities, women, people with disabilities, veterans. We really appreciate the sacrifices, but more importantly, the value and services that they bring to the marketplace. So next slide, please. I want to share with you a quick overview of our team. I am the director. I also have an administrative assistant named Francisco Pena Perales. And then I have an outreach officer who I'm sure most of you have met over the course of doing business with Dallas County or attending outreach events. Her name is Lasagna Allen. And I have a vacant outreach position, as well as a compliance officer position that I'm trying to fill as well. And then finally, I have a program specialist named Rosa Rodriguez, who is not with us today, but she is definitely an integral part of our team as well. Next slide, please. So the question that everyone wants to ask, how can I be recognized by the county as an SBE? So first and foremost, one's firm must be certified by one of the following agencies. We have three that we recognize that are approved through our Commissioners Court. It is the Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Supplier Development Council. We have the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency. And we also have the Women's Business Council Southwest. See their logos there. We encourage you to visit their websites, familiarize yourself with not only the organizations, but look at their programs and the events that they conduct to network and increase opportunities for their members. And then secondly, the firm must have a local presence within the Dallas County Metropolitan Statistical Area, which is also known as a MSA. And we have four of which we support, which is Dallas County, Tarrant County, Denton County, and then finally Collin County. Next slide. So once you sign a contract and you're working with Dallas County, we have a system for compliance tracking, which is called B2G Now. And it's mandatory for our primes to input their spending and their utilization of subcontractors into this database. We ensure contractually that they not only add those subcontractors into the system, but they're paying them in a timely manner, okay? And then we also have the second bullet, the mandatory electronic payment reporting piece. Again, those primes have to enter those payments, and then the subcontractor has the responsibility to verify that they were indeed paid. So it gives us a full view and visibility into the utilization of those subcontractors, which is in compliance with the contract terms and conditions, and also ensures that those subcontractors were utilized in the manner in which they were identified. Okay, so next slide. So we're open for small business. Once again, we're very proud of the fact that we have a commitment that has been extended throughout Dallas County, and all of our internal stakeholders and client organizations are successfully and proactively working with us to utilize small businesses. And that is no small feat because it drives the culture, it drives inclusion, equity, and more importantly, acknowledges our commitment to diversity. So we want you to visit the links that are listed below. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and or my team. And so with that, I want to now turn it over to Mr. Mike Frosch, who is going to give you a quick overview of how to do business with Dallas County. And so with that, I turn it over to Mr. Frosch.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crawford and Judge Jenkins. Dallas County, when I was hired by Dallas County, one of the things that I was told specifically by the judge is that we need to ensure that we become the #1 purchasing department in the country. Took that charge very seriously. And over the last 2.5 years since I've been with Dallas County, we've moved forward in a lot of areas to be progressive in how we do business in Dallas County. One thing that I noticed initially is that we didn't have any way to really be fully open and transparent as we're doing our public procurement. So we'll talk a little bit about our online procurement system that we put in place to allow businesses large and small to be able to have access to what we do day to day, day in, day out. And we've also want to talk a little bit about our goals as we move forward. Next slide, please. Our mission in Dallas County is obviously to procure goods and services for our client departments. And we want to have inclusion and opportunity. What that means inside of our departments is to ensure we unbundle projects where we can, to make sure that we have opportunities for business, small and large, to compete on the day-to-day. Transparency is critical to public procurement. We're using taxpayers' dollars, and that's something that we have a responsibility to do. So we take that very seriously. And obviously we have a lot of statutory requirements that are there in place to ensure that we spend taxpayers' dollars wisely. Next slide, please. We have a small team in Dallas County of about 20 people that are working diligently to take care of the daily needs for Dallas County. Next slide. Next slide, please. So we get asked a lot, what do you buy for Dallas County? What are you procuring? What's the opportunities for small and large businesses? So we have a couple of categories we have listed here: professional services, legal services, architectural engineering services. I think it's easier to talk more about our departments so you can kind of get a idea of what we would need. We have, health and human services, as we have a lot now in the COVID environment. Courts, jails, we're one of the largest jails in the United States. The Sheriff's Department, Tax Office, Justice of the Peace. Facilities maintains all of our facilities there, and Homeland Security. So as you think of things that we may procure in Dallas County, think of those departments. We have goods and services, traditional janitorial. We have fleet. We have a large fleet to maintain as well. We have furniture. We have a lot of construction going on in Dallas County, and we're in a brand new building here as Records that we just talked about. And then we use the job order contracting and other things of that nature. Next slide, please. An example of the size and scope of what we have produced and what we actually procure in Dallas County is last year we had 144 items that this court approved for us and considered in the tune of $327 million worth of purchases. So some people, as Jesse just mentioned, we're open for business. We want to make sure that you're aware that we're open for business, and we do actually spend significant money to support all of our infrastructure and our offices here. So the methods of procurement, sometimes you want to talk about the methods of procurement and want to know what type of tools do we use to actually buy goods and services. And you'll hear the solicitation processes as informal. When you hear informal in most public agencies, informal is less than $50,000. Although that's significant dollars, informal in most public agencies by statute is less than $50,000. You'll hear invitation for bids or low bid, request for proposals. And we'll go through these in a minute, a little more detail, and request for qualifications. And obviously we have exemptions by state law where necessary to use cooperatives or interlocals that may add some aggregation to drive down costs for Dallas County. You have sole source items that may be proprietary. And then you have emergency processes where you may have an emergency situation that you have to respond to public health and safety. Next slide, please. So we're highly regulated, as I mentioned earlier, governed by the state of Texas statutes and internal policies. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, invitation for quotes less than 50,000. I wanted to let everybody know they're not required to be advertised by law in the newspaper. So we use our online system for that. So that's where it's a good opportunity for small businesses to kind of get in with the government agency. There's a quick decision made within a few days. We look at the bids, we look at the one to meet the lowest minimum requirement, and then we award those purchase orders in less than 10 days. So it's very quick and decisive. It doesn't take a lot of long-term process. So I think that's something that's very nice for a small business or any business to actually look at. And there's less competition sometimes on the smaller items than the larger items. So you have an opportunity to be successful. The invitation for bid, the area that's bolded there is a little bit different. So we have to, anything over $50,000, you have to advertise by the statute in the daily commercial record. That's something we use for Dallas County. And then once we go through our process and make a recommendation for the lowest bidder that's meeting the requirements, we move that forward to Commissioner Court for approval. Next slide, please. Request for proposals, you'll hear what that typically is going to be used when you have multiple solutions. So you may have a system that may have multiple solutions. We want to look at different criteria other than cost. Sometimes it's called best value. So you have other criteria that you're considering. One thing in Dallas, I want to make sure that everybody understands that they're evaluated in Dallas by a committee. There's no one person that makes a decision when we're using a request for proposal. So we want to ensure we have the best solution for Dallas County when we move forward. And all of those are negotiated. So any request for proposal is negotiated, and then the highest ranked proposal would move forward for Commissioner Court. And the request for qualifications, similar to the RFP, they require the advertising. A request for qualification by statute, you can kind of think of it as items that have to require licensing by the state of Texas. So it's architects, engineers, doctors, lawyers that's what you would see in RFQ. And that's a two-step process. By law, you have to get the most qualified firm, identify them first. Then after you identify the most qualified firm, then you enter into negotiations on a contract and fees. And only if you can't come up to a agreeable term on the contract and the fees, then you can move to the next most qualified firm. It's to protect the agency and qualified firms, ensure you're not shopping a qualified firm trying to get the best deal. So we look at the most qualified, and then we move forward into the two-step process. You negotiate, and then we go forward for our court to recommend. Next page, please. I've been procurement director for a number of years, and some of the top 10 things that we consider when we want you to consider when you're submitting bids or proposals for any public agency, in the top left is bid security. One thing that we have looked at in my 2.5 years is removed barriers that we felt or heard from the community that needed to be looked at. One was insurance that was in excess of the market. So we looked at all of our insurance requirements, and bid security is only required where it has to be required, which is by statute, and that's in construction. So we don't have bid security on any goods and general services other than construction. So that's something that you need to look at. If it's required, it'll state it very, very clearly. If you don't submit your bid security with your submittal, then we would deem you non-responsive. The award methodology on the second to the left, pay close attention to the verbiage that's inside this solicitation. It'll say, we want to award this all or none to all of the items that are listed, or all the groups, to one vendor, or by group, or by line, or best value. We'll look at the terminology there, because this is a great opportunity for partnering if you don't have the capacity, or maybe you can do most of the scope, but you don't need some assistance there. That's a good opportunity for you to partner and find somebody that can help you make your proposal or your bid more successful. The next bucket there is read instructions. Obviously, you want to make sure you read all the documentation, you understand the requirements, and then you can fulfill those requirements. That's usually where we have some problems, where we'll ask for a number of references, and we want to see that you have 3 or 4 references in the business. And if you don't provide those references back, we cannot consider you, because it would be not fair to the rest of the firms. Make sure you can meet the delivery. Of course, if you go back to the slide, please. Make sure you can meet the delivery, of course, of the products and specs, because if you contract with Dallas County, we wouldn't expect you to do that, obviously, and we'll hold you to the specifications. One of the most important things in the bottom left is attend the pre-bid meeting. We didn't have pre-bid meetings until 2019 when I arrived, and we make that mandatory. Pre-bid meetings are very, very important for a number of reasons. It's the one opportunity in the public procurement process anywhere in the city, state, or county that you get to talk to the actual client, not just to the procurement staff. You get to talk to not only the SB team, the procurement team, but the actual client that actually provided the specifications and the scope. So during that discussion, you can ask any clarification questions. It's a good opportunity to find out if you have any questions on the scope, or if you think that specifications may be restrictive in any way. We want to hear that, because based on the questions that come in out of that pre-bid meeting, we'll use that to modify our scope and our specifications in some cases. And one of the most important things is you have opportunity to meet and network with a B2B type opportunity, business to business. If folks are showing up in a virtual or in person to actually come and take their time to attend a pre-bid meeting, then they're pretty serious about submitting a proposal or a bid for Dallas County. Top right, keep up with the solicitation schedule and the addenda. So as we move forward in public procurement, if we have any changes once we initially submit or announce that we have a specification or a solicitation, we make those changes by an addenda. So we post those on our electronic procurement system. If you're registered with us, one of the benefits there is you get a notice of any changes that may happen post the actual go live. So it's very important. That's when the pre-bid notices go out. That's where you have the closing date, obviously, is very important. Because one thing about the public and the private is if it has a closing date, as an example of 2 p.m. on Thursday, which is the majority of Dallas County, if it comes in at 2:01, Dallas County cannot consider it by law. We cannot change it. We can't accept it, regardless of the weather or any of those situations. So if you're using an online platform, which we would hope that you would use for Dallas County, because we provided that for you to make it very easy for you, be prepared to take the time necessary to go and add your proposals and your documents online. A lot of people have concerns with bandwidth. Start early, and if you have any questions or have any issues, let us know when you're entering stuff on our online platform. correct pricing sheet gets solved if you use our online system, but if you use the paper and you print a proposal and you send back any pricing sheets or any other required documents, please make sure you're using the most correct pricing sheet. If you use the online system, that takes care of it. We would send an addendum out. We would change it online. You wouldn't have to worry about any of those forms. Bonding requirements. Here's the other one that we need to spend a little time on. Bonding requirements. Removed all bonds on anything outside of construction where it's required by law. So be careful and be very, very diligent on the bonding. This is another opportunity. If it's a large construction project, as an example, there will be bonding requirements and there'll be insurance requirements. And this is a great opportunity for a legal joint venture to come together and increase your bonding capacity or take away some of that risk just from your firm by bringing in another party to do that work. We look at bonding very seriously, and we will take considerations on items that may have bonding requirements or the amounts. And we just need to understand what the concerns may be. We've looked at all of our insurance and bonding as a team, and we think we have that right. We want to make sure we hear from the vending community. If you see anything in there that seems out of place with other public agencies, we'll look at that. And complete and return all your documentation. There's a lot of required forms. We try to take away a lot of the forms that may be tripwires, so to speak, in the public sector or with the government here. And we've removed a lot of requirements that we've seen that have caused problems in the past. We want to ensure that we get enough information to make a good decision, but we don't want to burden you with things that may not be necessary to make the ultimate recommendation. But there's some forms that are just required. It's part of the process in spending taxpayer dollars, and we really need you to pay attention. We highlight them. We make them a required document on our actual online platform. So you have to physically click that document. And sometimes we still see those coming in with either blank documents or the wrong documentation. So be very diligent and by all means ask questions if you have any questions with any document that's required. Now we go over all the documents that are required at the pre-bid meeting, another reason to attend, whether it's the SBE documentation that's required or the procurement documentation required. We go over all of the required documents there. So whether you attend virtually or in person, we encourage you to do so. And then we provide a list of all the attendees for the pre-bids as well. Forgot to mention that. It's very helpful if you're trying to go out and try to partner up with another contractor. Then make a competitive bid. I mean, we all want to make sure. People think that they come to the county and they submit a bid and they're going to have the home run, but really the margins are very, very tight in the public sector. We'll offer any of our pricing from our current contractor to make sure that you can see that. We want you to know the pricing of our current contracts so you have an opportunity to compete. Now, our goal is to have competition, drive down the cost of goods for all of us as taxpayers, and then obviously have opportunities for small businesses. Next page, please. So in April 2020, we implemented a new online platform, as I mentioned earlier. I was hired in March of 2019, and after a year of working to get the system put in place in the beginning of the pandemic, we we just went forward and launched this platform. This platform is very, very intuitive. There's 2 or 3 platforms out there in the public sector. This is one of them. They're all basically the same in my perspective. But the platform allows you to receive all the notices and submit your documentations online. It lets you categorize by commodity codes the interest of your solicitations. If you get too many emails based on your broad brush approach on your commodities, you can narrow those down. But you get emails on any solicitation for any public agencies that are out there. The benefit under the vendor benefits, it's free. I want to make sure it's clear. It's free for Dallas County solicitations. If you log in, and there's a link that we'll provide to you, and go to the Dallas County solicitation sites, you can log in for free and you can register. They're going to send you email notices and try to get you to upgrade to another platform, to a more premium platform to see private businesses solicitations and public agencies. But you can see all Dallas County for free, just to be clear. There's 100,000 agencies that are using this platform. So if you're in business to sell certain commodities, you'll see different commodities from all across the region or country, depending on how you select your search. It's paperless. You have a paperless opportunity to submit information to us. And also you can do questions and answers online as well. The questions that are submitted online, we answer all questions before we close that solicitation, obviously. So you'll have a good, clear opportunity to compete. And that's at the bottom, I mentioned at the bottom, advanced search tools. You can do geography or agency type, public agencies, private, and search by the most recent or by due date. So it gives a lot of different options there. Next page, please. Next page just simply is going to re-emphasize that it's free, doesn't cost you any money. And this link, when we send this out or we have it online, you can click on our website. It'll take you directly into the website, and you just register, complete the registration, your basic business information. Next slide, please. This is a snapshot on the next slide of our items that are formed. These are all of our items. If you look at our Dallas County Purchasing Department, this is a snapshot as of today. If you kind of look at the bottom, we see protective mask. Those are, this is not today, this is a snapshot of a while ago. But anyway, when you look at this website, you'll see all of the items that are open. And if you're logged into BidSync, you click the blue hyperlink in the middle under title, and it'll take you to that solicitation. You can log in and complete the actual response and submit it right there inside the system. So it's very, very intuitive, and it's very easy. And inside the bid solicitation, when you're inside of the BidSync system, there's videos that are inside as well that if you get stuck, click a button and it shows you how to walk through. Next slide, please. Some folks aren't interested in logging into BidSync just to simply see formal documents, because we may not do the solicitation maybe once every 2 or 3 years, and they want to look at the document before they take the time to log in. So we have a different link on our page for formal bids. Anything that's over $50,000, we put a PDF link of the entire document. This is an example of one that was placed on, that's closing on, anticipated to close this week as an example, and it's a purchase of inmate clothing and other related items. If you click that hyperlink on the far left-hand side, that'll take you to a PDF document, so you can look at all the scope and actually the requirements before you log in. And technically, we'll accept paper bids as well. If you want to submit a paper bid, we highly encourage the online system, but if you were to download that document, you could submit that to our office as well. We want to make sure that we're allowing you to do business how you want to do business at this time. Next slide. There's some links here. I'm not going to spend time, but these links will be available. It helps you understand how to do electronic bids. It walks you through them again through different videos on how to do paper bids and electronic bids on our system. So it's a very easy way to do it. It shows you step by step. So that's a nice area for the support side to help you walk through a BidSync online submittal. Next slide, please. We have this is a forecast of a number of items that we're working on today that are out for solicitation, and some that are coming up. So we can kind of see a lot of variety of items and estimated dollar amounts. One large solicitation that's out right now is armed and unarmed security guards. That's a huge contract for Dallas County. It's very important to Dallas County. This is an opportunity that I can mention the actual wage floor that I worked with. Well, actually, the day 2 when I met with Honorable Judge Jenkins, we discussed how we encourage, how do we get increased value and quality of our service contracts. So we had a long discussion over the last 2 years actually on how to increase our quality on our service contracts when we have a lot of skilled labor that are doing work for Dallas County. So with the leadership of Judge Jenkins and his continual discussion with me and my team on the wages that we're paying the employees that are working on the contracts, we just recently, and this contract here is one of the first ones where we're actually going to require the contractors to pay a wage floor of $15.21, which is the MIT's wage floor. So we're going to use that wage floor to ensure that we have at least a reasonable pay for the semi-skilled or skilled laborers that we have working with Dallas County as contracts. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Temporary staffing at the bottom, that'll have the same provision. It's 8.5 million. And we obviously use a lot of temporary staffing, whether it's inside our departments or for our elections departments. But I just wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that we have coming up, and some of these are very imminent, and some are coming up a little further on. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide. So I wanted to have a little pitch for our MCIP program, which is a major capital improvement program that's managed by our Public Works Department. We have a number of projects that we have that are coming up either later this year or first quarter of next year. The first item, the side path, was already bid. We closed that earlier this month. We have a couple of large construction contracts. We got the Wildlife Park that's coming up. That's $35 million. Wildlife Parkway is the address. It's on 161 in Beltline. It's $35 million. So it's a large project. And a $65 million Riverfront Boulevard, Katy Street. That's going to be a large project as well. We have the Cockrell Hill Road to Singleton. So we have a number of large projects coming up that we know that are on our coming MCIP project information list. We'll probably have more coming. As the one thing about Dallas County is what we think we're going to do today changes every day based on either priority or not. But we know these items are coming up, so we want to make sure you're aware of those. So I want to thank you very much for allowing me to go over a few things. We really want to encourage you to do business with Dallas County. We really are open for business, as Mr. Crawford says. We want you to compete, want you to be successful, and we want to have feedback from you just as important. So I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Nash, who's Director of Operations with DFW Minority Supplier Development Center.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Always a great presentation, great information that's there. Next slide, please. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Judge Jenkins, for your definitely continued support. Again, I'm Andrew Nash, Director of Operations with the Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Supplier Development Council. We talked about certification that the county takes, and we're just going to talk a little bit about. There's 3, so we have some more folks that's going to talk about. I'm going to talk about our certification. We're the Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Supplier Development Council. We provide a nationally recognized MBE certification. Again, not only that certification, but we do the SBE certification. That's what you're here to hear about, as well as the state of Texas hub certification. That's different from the federal hub zone. This is the historically underutilized business certification for the state of Texas. So again, we're nationally recognized. We're part of the National Minority Supplier Development Council, 23 affiliate councils throughout the United States. So you have a MBE certification that you can take around the country with you. Again, talking about certification, we certify ethnic minority companies, so you have to be 51% controlled, owned, and managed by ethnic minority. You have to have day-to-day operations, and we're going to go look through your information. So there is a process. We are a fee-based certification, as you can see on there. If your revenues are under $1 million, it's $270 to be certified. Again, it depends on what kind of business. You don't have to be in business any time or anything like that, as long as you can prove to us that you're control the company, you're a U.S. citizen, and you have the day-to-day operation. We usually take somewhere we say up to 90 days to get you certified. Sometimes that time is less, but again, once we get a completed application, it's important when you're providing for any of the entities that are here that you complete a completed application. We're going to ask for a lot of documents or information. Again, what we're trying to do is prove to our folks that you are who you say you are, and you do what you say you do. Again, we not only once you're certified, you go through the process. We do a lot of different events that's going to connect you with events like this, where we partner with Dallas County to talk about all the opportunities there, but we do other events. We have an Access Business Expo where we bring together the buyers, the planners, folks in the buying community, corporations, historically underutilized business programs from the state. So again, we're going to do different events, as well as our Hard Hat Expo that we had our only live event this year. But we were excited to have that at the Dallas Convention Center. Hard Hat is our construction expo. So if you're construction related, we do have a plan room that's part of the council that you can come out and check out the plans of your takeoffs, and doesn't cost you anything. But our Hard Hat Expo, over 500 folks attended, very well received there in the community. So there's a lot, as Mike talked about, a lot of construction, a lot of opportunities that are out there, and that's what we really share. Again, going through the certification process, we're going to ask for things like tax returns. Since we do certify, your company that you're an ethnic minority company, we have to see some proof that lets us know that you're ethnic minority. So we're going to look at your business, your stock certificates, how your business, if you're incorporated or your LLC, your bylaws, and all those things are really established. And once we get all the information, we're going to do a desk audit. We're going to look through it, make sure everything is there. If not, we're going to request documents. Once we get a completed application, we're going to put you in front of our certification committee. So our certification committee is going to review it. They're going to make sure everything's in order. Then we're going to do a site visit. We do site visits on 100% of all of our companies that are getting certified. So we're going to come out and do a site visit. If it's Zoom, if it's in person, right now we're at Zoom. So we're going to make sure that we connect with you. Once that site visit is gone, the committee makes a recommendation. We put you in front of the board makes its recommendation to approve. And once you approve, we're going to bring you in for an orientation. So every new supplier goes through an orientation, a 1-hour orientation, the first Tuesday of the month, where we're going to talk about and introduce you to some folks that are going to help you get started, tell you how to either maneuver through there. We have UNT, who's going to talk about the hub program. Make sure you have your NAIGP codes. We're going to have some folks from the corporate side talk about the NAICS codes and description. So again, we're going to help you along your way, go through that. Again, we talk about the different events we do, with a lot of webinars. We're going to connect you with all the right folks that you want to see in there. So again, that's our certification process. Again, once we get a completed application, we can go through that. So again, if you have any questions after Anita and Andre has finished their presentation, we'll answer questions. So I think next is Jesse.
Yes, next is Miss Anita Steele, who is the Executive Director of Certification for the Women's Business Council Southwest. So, Anita, you're up.
Hi, thank you everyone for the chance to be here today and talk to you about Women's Business Council Southwest. I want to thank Judge Jenkins for hosting the event, and Jesse and Mike for all the great information on Dallas County's Supplier Diversity Program. Okay, I'm sorry. So as I mentioned, I'm Executive Director of Certification for the Women's Business Council Southwest, and we are a regional partner organization for the most widely recognized WBE Women Business Enterprise Certification in the country. WBENC is the gold standard for WBE certification. We are one of 14 RPOs, and we represent Central and North Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, and provide the WBENC certification for WBEs in that territory. In addition to the WBE certification, we offer the SBE that we're talking about here today for Dallas County contracting opportunities. We also offer WOSB certification for through the SBA for federal contracting with federal agencies, and the state of Texas hub certification for contracting with Texas state agencies. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for all of your certifications for corporate, federal, state, and Dallas County as well that we're talking about in particular today. In addition to the certifications we offer programming, events, networking events. We have monthly, quarterly, annual events that are designed to help you grow your business and take it to the next level. There are opportunities to meet with our corporate members and buyers, and as well as other WBEs for mentoring. You may mentor someone, you may be mentored by someone. But one thing that we want to point out, not to overlook, especially for companies that are in their early growth stage, sometimes it can be difficult to land a contract, with a major corporation. And please don't overlook the opportunities that membership provides for contracting with WBEs. Our WBEs do a great deal of business among themselves with each other in support of each other. And that's a wonderful way to help you kickstart your business and grow your business. If you'd like to attend one of our events, they're listed on our website at wbcsouthwest.org. Take the opportunity as a non-member even just to attend one of the events and get to know some of our members and some of our corporate members and WBE members. The certification process, Andrew covered that in his presentation, and ours is very similar. It's an online application, and we are going to ask for documentation to provide proof that the company is actually majority female owned, controlled, and managed. Once we receive your application, we will review the application and documents with our certification review committee that meets once a month. And then we'll follow that up with a site visit. We're doing all of our site visits virtually right now due to the pandemic. But we have a certification review committee volunteer will meet with you virtually to conduct your site visit. And the certification process, we say 60 to 90 days once the application is marked complete, but we average around 45. So it could be much less or, much less than 90 days. If you have any questions about certification and the benefits of certification, we have a great webinar on our website that you can view anytime from any location, and that might answer some of your questions. You can also reach out to me. My contact information is listed there on the slide, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have or discuss your eligibility or get into more detail about the certification process. It's a pleasure being here with you today, and I look forward to hearing from some of you. I hope you'll reach out to us, and we can talk about the benefits of membership with Women's Business Council Southwest. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Anita. And then last but not least, we have another A name, Mr. Andre. So that's the first time we've had Andre, Andrew, and Anita on our lineup. So Mr. Andre, you're next. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name's Andre McEwing. I'm the Supply Diversity Manager for Tarrant County College District and also a board member with North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency. And with that said, I've been on the board now for approximately 10 years as chair, vice chair, treasurer, along with 22 other public and private entities. NCTRCA, as it's well known, its mission is to certify businesses in order to build a vendor pool for member organizations, as well as provide education and opportunities for certified businesses. We are committed to ensuring that bona fide, disadvantaged, small, minority-owned business, women-owned businesses benefit from the programs offered by member entities. And you've heard from Andrew as well as Anita. We have all the same criteria to be certified, predominantly that you're 51% own and control the business. We do have a staff of 5 at NCTRCA that review applications once they're completed. As you've heard emphasized by Anita and Andrew, they must be completed. It's a 90 to 120 day process. The site visits for SBE are determined by the analysts in terms of the option to provide a site visit or not. I provided information in the chat for you for the online application, as well as the website for NCTRCA. NCTRCA is one of the largest certification agencies in the state of Texas. It represents almost 5,000 certified minority women-owned businesses. It represents 16 counties, which also include both the Dallas County, Tarrant County, Collin County. And so it is very large organization. Governance and procedures are governed by the 23 entities, both public and private, that accept the NCTRCA certification. They also, it's a one-stop shop in the event that you want to get your other certifications. It certifies the Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, better known as ACDBE, the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, the MBE, obviously the SBE, and the WBE. So if you are pursuing contracting opportunities with entities, public and private, that utilize, that accept those certifications in addition to SBE, you will be able to pursue those with NCTRCA. In addition, we do have outreach training that are hosted by the public entities. Most recently, we had a Tarrant County side business opportunity fair. We also have those in Dallas County. So we rotate as board members to support all of the board member entities in regards to making sure we outreach to the small minority-owned business women community. And so we look forward to supporting, as we have done over the years, in partnership with DFW MSDC, as well as the Women's Business Southwest and the state of Texas historically underutilized business programs. We are a partnership. And so we encourage you to call the office. Again, I placed in the chat the information regarding NCTRCA, the online application process, as well as information about how to contact the office. Most recently, we moved into new offices in Arlington, Texas, located at 2261 Brook Hollow, Arlington, Texas, Suite 300, to accommodate the capacity and growth of business of the growing minority women-owned small business community. And so we look forward to supporting you in your efforts. And again, thank you to Dallas County, from Tarrant County to Judge Jenkins, to Jesse, your entire team, for this opportunity to support and provide information about North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, better known as NCTRCA. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again to our certification partners. We're now in our Q&A period, but I want to let you know that we've had live representatives monitoring the chat room and answering those questions throughout the presentation. So what I'll do is I will skip through a few of these for the sake of the entire attendees, just to share some of the information that we've received. So let's see. Here's a question. Just to reconfirm, to qualify for the grant, your business must have a physical location within Dallas County. That is the question, and the answer is yes. They have to be located within Dallas County. If you're in the city of Dallas, we do not accept those particular businesses because, as I mentioned earlier, the city of Dallas has its own program to address those grants. And so this is for Dallas County solely. Let's see, what's another question here in the chat room? Let's see, will there be an opportunity to get a copy of the presentation used today? The answer is yes. This information will be posted on the SBE website, which is dallascounty.org/SBE. And we will send it to everyone who either joined or RSVP'd for this event as well. I'll read a few more here. Let's see. Are the bonding and insurance requirements adjusted for small businesses, as some insurance requirements for proposals are barriers to entry for many small business enterprises, especially in the professional service arena and providers such as ours? So we have an answer here. Let me scroll down. Mr. Frosch answered the question. He says, we have reviewed all of our insurance requirements, adjusting most to ensure that we are in alignment with the insurance industry. If we will consider comments for each solicitation, so if you feel the requirements are not aligned with the industry standards, you can let us know. And as he touched on, we will consider those comments for each solicitation. And then lastly, let's see, I'm going all the way down. There was a question regarding the fees. Someone said, I see a $100 fee, I see a $250 and a free fee. Which certification is free? So our answer is the DBE, or Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification, and the ACDBE, which is around airport concessions. That is free as well, okay? There was a question for our open records request, where do we go? And we added the link there. It is www.dallascounty.org/government/COMCRT/openrecords.php. So you can see that in the section as well. And we'll provide that information for you, right? So with that, I'm looking at the clock. It's now 4 o'clock. I want to be mindful of everyone's time, but I want to thank again everyone who has joined us virtually. I know there was some challenges on the front end getting into the actual session, but we appreciate your diligence. And also, I want to thank each participant and speaker. Thank you for making time to support Dallas County. So again, special kudos to Ms. Margot Posey, who is not only the chair of my SBAC, but also Andrew Nash, Anita Steele, and Mr. Andre McEwen. I want to thank each one of you personally, as well as Judge Jenkins and his staff for the awesome work that they've done in helping us to set this event up, but more importantly, to champion small business enterprises each and every day. Let's see here. There's a couple of questions there. When will the IT services contract be released? Quarter one of 2022, for example. I can't read that particular comment there. Let me come back to that one. Scroll down 1 second, please. All right, here's some additional questions that have been shown to me. I'm looking at a different screen. So one of the questions says, we are very near a disadvantaged hub zone, 3 blocks. Are there any variances here? And then we also have a question around, when will the IT services contract be released? Q1 of 2022, for example. And then there's also a question that says, Dallas County is very committed to diversity. Does the county count MBE firms when they are prime contractors? If not, do they plan to count them? So let me answer that one. Our program is based on SBE today, first and foremost. We do acknowledge the MWBE certifications. However, for our tracking and reporting purposes, in our program, it is SBE based. Now, we are considering a disparity study in the very near future. So today we have the SBE program, but we will, following and pending the results of that disparity study, determine if the MWBE will be the basis for our program moving forward. But I want to be clear, today it is a SBE based program, okay? Anyone who knows me knows that I champion any and all diverse suppliers, regardless of ethnicity, gender. It runs the gamut. I'm a true champion. So, to conclude this call, we have some answers here, or questions, excuse me, in the chat room. I will get with my team. We will answer those for you. But I want to be mindful of our time today. Judge Jenkins, are you still with us? Are there any closing remarks that you would like to share with us at this time? I know we're scheduled to go to 4:30, but I believe in.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. Am I back on? Did I do this right? Start video. That work?
There we go.
So I think the main thing you've heard from several people, we really want to do business with you. We really want to grow our small businesses here and grow our percentage participation with our small businesses. So please, please, please reach out to us. And one thing I love about small businesses, it's not just the person that owns a small business that we're doing business with, it's all their employees. And so when you're paying that living wage and you're investing in the community where you're from, that means a lot more, at least it does to me, it means a lot more to me than when we're dealing with some big company out of some skyscraper, maybe in Dallas, maybe in Houston, maybe in Atlanta, or who knows where. So please work with us. We're open for business. You'll get a fair shot with Dallas County. We want to work with you. All these people are highly motivated to help you succeed, as I am. So please work with us, and thank you so much for being a part of this.
All right. Thank you so much, Judge Jenkins. And once again, I'll never be tired of extolling and championing and beating the drum for diversity here at the Dallas County. And I want to recognize the efforts of you as well as the other commissioners who enabled me to even have a position here and a purpose. So with that, once again, I want to thank you on behalf of the SBE Enterprise Department. Thank everyone who has been a part of us ensuring that this event went off without a hitch. So I want to recognize our IT staff under Miss Melissa Kraft, who has been very instrumental in working on the technical end of this event. And then I also want to recognize a lady named Miss Nicole Block, who has helped us not only with the marketing materials and flyers, but thank her and her team as well for their support. So to that end, we're going to wrap up a little early here and give you your time back. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we hope to see you again at our next event. So have a great evening, be safe, wear your mask, and thank you again.